Welcome back to Blaster Master Zero 2. We're still in the crazy orbiting planet area, so getting more goodies, and then we'll kind of be moving on, as you do in this game.
I suppose so. Seems to have a pretty basic formula to it when you get down to it.
Yeah, pretty much, honestly. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, I didn't mean it like a bad thing. Sometimes having that simple...
Oh, hi, boss from the last game. But now there's 3 heads.
Sometimes having that simple, easy-to-grasp gameplay loop can really help a game. Depends on the type of game you're going for.
Yeah.
This is one of the bosses from the first game? Or the last game,
Well,
I guess, technically?
Do you remember the Skull Dragon thing that you start off as Jason, then you have to platform and get the tank back from the elevator?
Not really, because it's been a long time. Oh, wow, you do not care
I have more health than it does.
even a little bit.
No, I have more health than it does. Or not.
Nah, it looks like you ran pretty low on health pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you stand in front of it, don't give a crap, and just shoot.
I mean, it's working.
Well, it almost worked, and then it didn't.
Dang it.
And then it didn't.
Ba, 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 fwee.
I was close, though.
Well, at least your moon buggy controls well.
Yeah.
I really don't like fighting the giant monsters in that other moon buggy that shall remain nameless. That was
the
not
one
fun.
that definitely doesn't have a top-mounted machine gun.
It was the cannon that I forgot to use, not the machine gun. The machine gun was what I was using the whole time.
Yeah, the cannon is what was needed to make that go faster.
The remasters for Mass Effect are coming to PC, apparently, in, I don't know, March-ish, maybe,
Something
this
like-
year,
something
sometime
like
this
that.
year. I'm not remotely interested in getting the game again for PC, but what can you do?
So there is, like, how remastered is this remaster? Like, how different is it actually?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm looking forward to finding out, but at the very least, Mass Effect 1 will probably be optimized, which is already an upgrade.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
Well, I mean, if you're playing it on consoles, the textures take years and years to cycle from low res to high res, and if you're playing on PC, well, even if you have a good rig that gets the load times down really fast, you have to deal with Garrus not having his face textures working properly.
I'm trying to check the planet if I've gotten everything.
Oh, man. Making stuff easy is just not what this area is all about.
Yeah.
That's annoying. They could have made the rotation a little bit slower.
But what fun is that?
More fun than this.
Gotta use our drill.
Oh, I remember this area now. The drill power-up is actually one of my favorite in the game. I don't know why, I just really enjoy it for whatever reason. I just find it really cool when just plowing through all of the stuff through the ground. I don't know, it's just not something you get in a lot of other games. So I particularly enjoy that part.
Yeah, random knickknack we got.
And that's the only thing we needed here. Now we can leave, yay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Hey, it is 100% run. Gotta get it. Yay, our magic wall jumping tank.
That's, I'm never gonna get used to that. I mean, you can sort of cling to walls in Mass Effect. If you roll up a hillside and it winds up going almost entirely vertical, but not quite, you're pretty much
Yay, physics
rolling up a
engines.
wall.
That's one way to define it, I suppose. if we're being generous with the term wall climbing here.
I mean, it could be the horses in Skyrim, so.
Oh god. Are those the ones that Spider-Man up
Yeah, basically.
rock? I mean, they kind of do that in Zelda Breath of the Wild too. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Not quite Skyrim bad.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, because to this day I still have not played Skyrim, and I don't know if I have any desire.
Todd Howard
to
heard
play
that
it.
he's going to be knocking on your door soon.
What part of Skyrim specifically are we talking about that's bad? Because there's a lot.
Well, no, it's not that Skyrim's a bad game. It's more just that I'd rather have a game that's working without me having to put like all these mods into it. I guess is the thing. I'm just kind of like that. I don't know. The idea Skyrim, and also it's not just that. Something about the aesthetic just doesn't do anything for me either. Like, I don't know, something about Skyrim just never really appealed to me, and I'm having a hard time really explaining why.
Well, I can sort of understand that, I suppose.
It might just be, I don't know, just the way that everything looks. I've never really been a big fan of the very, very grim fantasy kind of setting. I've more enjoyed my fantasy more lighthearted, to the point where I'd say like even Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson is on the edge of being a little bit too dark for my tastes. Like maybe that's, blasphemy, but I've always enjoyed a bouncier kind of feel to my
Well,
to my
it's
games.
not precisely bouncy, but you might enjoy the special edition of Skyrim a bit more because they changed the lighting engine, so things are generally a bit more bright and colorful all throughout the game. There's more visual range anyway, which definitely helps. But rather than Skyrim, you'd probably find Oblivion more interesting visually, aside from the potato faces.
Is that the one before Skyrim or the one before Skyrim?
It's the one before Skyrim.
Okay.
Although you'd probably like Morrowind with the graphical overhaul, because that game, the graphical overhaul mod makes the game look beautiful in a way that like a lot of modern games don't. So,
Interesting.
I wouldn't recommend playing Morrowind though. The gameplay is very dated. By which I mean it's a first-person action game in which when you swing your sword at the enemy, the game rolls a die in the background to tell you whether or not you hit, rather than just letting you hit the enemy if your sword physically contacts them.
Good old
you know.
XCOM.
Gotta love them turn-based RPG mechanics.
Well, I
where-
mean, that's the way Daggerfall worked, but it was fine in Daggerfall because everything was 2D sprites and a Doom 3D background. So, like, nothing was contacting anything, and it made some sense to have an accuracy mechanic under those conditions. But in Morrowind, everything is a 3D object. If your sword is hitting it, your sword is hitting it, It's a physical object in a 3D space. So I could never wrap my head around the accuracy mechanic in that game. It always just broke my brain.
I assume that they're just trying to copy or emulate the accuracy of D&D, where you have to roll in order to hit, even if you're like already the world's best swordsman, because there is always that 1 in 20 chance that you screw up. I guess, which
Well,
I don't
not
really
always.
know.
Sometimes you do just have such good accuracy compared to the enemy's armor class that you can't possibly miss.
That might just be something in terms of the way the game's programmed that's different from my experiences with tabletop, because the way my group has always done tabletop is that if you roll a natural 1, you miss no matter what. Even if your combined bonuses make it so that you have a 37
Right.
hit, if you roll a 1, you miss. It doesn't matter how.
A critical fail, yeah.
Yeah.
But in Morrowind, basically, the game starts you off in this town, and like one of the first things you can do outside of this town is going into this cave That's like 2 feet out of the town entrance. So I don't know why the guard haven't dealt with this yet. But there's a bandit group holed up in there with like prisoners and stuff. So obviously, being the goody two-shoes you probably are, if you're playing a fantasy RPG for the first time, you're going to want to go in there and rescue them. Unfortunately, you learn very quickly that at starter level, your accuracy is piss. So if you want to fight those bandits at that point in the game, you basically have to game the system and find some way to fight them that puts you at a really tedious advantage, where you have as many free shots at the enemy as you can get, and they can't attack you at all. Otherwise, you are going to die.
One of those sorts of situations.
Yeah. Skyrim has those situations too, where like there's this freaking Yeti on the mountain staircase that you have to climb for one of the early main plot quests, and that fucking Yeti is so goddamn powerful compared to what level you're probably at when you go there. If you're just going through the story quests at the beginning, and which is what the game seems to expect you to do. So I guess they want you to run away, but if you try to fight it, basically the only way to win is to park yourself on top of a giant rock above the goddamn thing out of reach and just fill it full of arrows until it gives up.
So that reminds me of watching people play Zelda Breath of the Wild for the first time, where they'll do everything by throwing bombs off of a cliff onto people. You know,
And then slowly whittle down their health.
slowly whittle down that health. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, in Breath of the Wild, the enemies scale up with you, so
It's weird. Only some of them do. There are always some areas where there will be red guys. Like I think in the plateau, the enemies are always red, which I think is probably because of the photo quest. Because you need to take pictures of, I think, every color of enemy on top of just every enemy, period. So, isn't there like a boost that can... Oh, there we go. There it is.
Yep.
That's how you're... Well, I mean, you don't need to do it to get through
But
here.
it's faster.
I would really rather not do it with without that. So, you
yes. I definitely see what you mean there. That was looking...
Yeah, I showed on the map where you're supposed to go because we're back here to get the flower Pothead wanted.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm going to call her Pothead because that's what she is.
Wonderful.
I get it. Oh, because it's like weed. Oh, man.
And thankfully, I edited back to where we're supposed to deliver it to save you all the backtracking time.
Thank you.
Excellent. So, thankfully, you don't have to worry about that kind of difficulty spike in Oblivion, because in Oblivion, everything just levels up with you. So the enemies don't become annoying until you get to high levels. But that brings with it its own problem.
Yeah, I don't know how I necessarily feel about that kind of mechanic a lot of the time, because I don't necessarily know how I feel about needing to spend an hour fighting the same rabbits that you fight at level 1 over and over and over again.
Well,
It's-
in Elder Scrolls, your levels are based more on usage of skills. You use a particular kind of skill, like your weapons, or a particular school of magic, or just letting things wail on you with your armor, if that is your chosen method. And eventually the skill will level up, and as you level up your class's main skills, then your character level will go up, and that will allow you to raise your health and your magic power and your stamina and whatever else. In Oblivion's case, this causes a bit of an issue, where, say, you can make your main class something like healing magic, and since you know that using healing magic a lot levels up healing magic faster, you're going to use your healing magic at literally every opportunity, since your magic meter restores over time, so there's no reason not to use it, even for the smallest injuries. So your healing magic levels up a lot faster than everything else. And maybe, say, your other main class skill is something like swimming or acrobatics, and you do that a lot. You jump around on rocks a lot, and that levels up fast. So the result is that your character gets higher leveled without actually getting much stronger in combat. And it does so very quickly, and the enemies scale up with your level. You see the problem?
I remember this. This is the last area that I got to in my playthrough of the game. I didn't get any farther than this.
Yeah, this area is kind of annoying because you can't do it in one go. It's divided up into two halves, and there's very little you can kind of do about a number of things.
Why am I thinking of the desert levels in that goddamn Donald Duck treasure hunting game on the Genesis? What was it called?
Quackshot?
Quackshot, that's the one. For
Well,
some
half
reason,
desert, half ice is like done in a million different games.
well, I don't know about half ice, but I'm just looking at the level graphics for this place, and it's reminding me of the goddamn
Instant death.
ow. It's
I
reminding
forgot that
me.
they did that.
It's reminding me of the blocky ass look of the pyramid that you jump around in to get whatever you're supposed to get in Quackshot. God damn, this looks annoying.
We'll see what this planet has in store in the next part of Blaster Master 02.